with 7 points. Ireland can lead them with another victory, and France will need to make up the points difference there.
Yeah, massive points difference. The French here, because they would get 3 for the win, would need to win by a landslide to leapfrog Fiji, and it's going to be down to that second place battle as well. Get 1 point for a loss as well, just to throw them in the mix.
So Ireland currently 6th on the series. France in 5th. Here they come in their traditional Union colors. There's Jordan Conroy on the Irish side. McNulty's been impactful today. Obviously Conroy and Kennedy really dangerous out wide. And that Irish team is top of the pool. This French team, led by Rugby, need to make up a 36-point difference. Rob Pickering, what's the tactic?
Well, that is something you probably don't want to necessarily keep thinking about, because it might mean you play a frenetic style of play and lose track of the flow of the game. Nick Hogan's refereeing it, 3rd series match. Look forward to seeing how he's going to go. This is going to be some pace. I feel as though Ireland have control of this. France will try and up it, knowing that they've got to get points and points quickly, but this Irish team have created some shockwaves around the world, and rugby people are paying attention to it.
Well, have they ever? Man on the ball, Mark Roche, is able to control a sevens game. He'll want to do that here. 50-50 ball in the air. Tap back by Troubal. He's on it again. They go wide. Good support from Riva. Flirting with both sidelines are the French. Ireland quite happy in their defensive lineup at the moment.
Yeah, and they love to try and hit that breakdown. A couple of their players really are specialists in that area. However, the likes of Sefo on the ball are dangerous people to give space to.
Well, doesn't he do well, Sefo? Ireland guilty of entering from the side.
Kelly's effort, he's so good over the ball. Mentioned about these specialists, you need them in the game. You've got your out-and-out flyers, your Conroys, your Kennedys, but then the grafters in the middle, the McNultys, Kellys, get their heads into places you don't nearly want to put your feet.
Just for those who haven't played on this series, Rob, will they have the message? Will they know that 36 points is what they need to make up as they're waiting in the tunnel there?
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Yeah, they'll be aware of that. There's also some connotations for second place, which will keep you abreast of, but I think first and foremost, you just got to try and win the game. And with that, you don't necessarily want too many players thinking about maths. It's not a good combination.
Always a good thing with rugby players, I think. France holding on at the breakdown. So Irish defense is rewarded. Minute and a half into this one.
No, straight on. Yeah.
Final Pool D match.
Composure from the Irish here. Now, you look to line-outs if you want to try and create an opportunity for set plays. They've got Lennox as first receiver, they've got Terry Kennedy at centre, and then Jordan Conroy at wing. France know this, are going to try and close the space down, but if Kennedy gets on the outside of Gondidier, it will be a score in the right-hand corner to Conroy.
Good switch back, the double switch. Looping around, Hugo Lennox. Still going, bobbles it, but holds on. Crowd really getting into this. Kennedy and Conroy in the ruck. Not necessarily where you want them, but France penalised.
A nice little play, that clever. The rugby acumen of this Irish team, been together so long. Playing that loop play, just bringing in the defenders. That man is going to be pivotal. His skill set is this outside arc. They didn't want to try that. France assumed that's what it's coming. He looks up, gives the ball, and then loops back round. There's Conroy. Lennox follows it round. Really clever play.
Well, they hit midfield. Jack Kelly gets man and ball. Roche does well just to tidy things up, but there's 4 green jerseys in there winning the ball.
Playing it on the ground.
Logel, that was so impressive. The big number one for France. He just took on two of the Irish forwards on his own and drove them off the ball.
So France have found touch, and we're just getting the calculators working just to correct earlier. 13 points is the winning margin that France need to find.
Well, it's going to help with plays like this.
Must be safe.
Logel
Must be safe.
taking two on. One-man army for the French.
It's good. Step across.
Set piece. Logel. Good combination there. Deft little pass out of contact.
No.
Ireland celebrating the steal before they even had the ball. The referee said no. Counter, Ireland has it. Kennedy sits him down. Harry McNulty just has a foot in touch there.
Put it down.
And Kennedy's working hard on the ball, isn't he?
There's someone definitely working hard. He's wearing number 4 for Ireland. Andrew Smith. Talked about Logel having a good effort. As soon as his tackle's made, look how quickly he's on it. Like a limpet, and then drives through. He knows he can't play the ball, but you can play the men, drive through it, and that is about as prized possession as you get. Brilliant from Smith.
21-year-old from Clontarf doing his bit for the Irish. Flat line out, first receivers tackled. Hard step from Rubaj. He got a try earlier on today. But not a lot of return here for the French at the moment. As we mentioned, the Irish competed for a medal in the last series event. Now in space. Off and running is Seppo, 6'4", and flying down the Irish sideline for the first try.
And as you always tend to get in games like this, that matters so much. There's a sense of intensity about it. Not one error have we seen in this first half. And Seppo gets a chance on the outside. It is Smith, as we've seen, brilliant in the breakdown, but just outflanked out wide. He can't get near. Look at the grimace. He knows how pivotal that could be, the context of this game and the points. Conroy coming across to try and close him down, does well to make sure he only scores out wide. But that is a strike to one of these brilliant weapons in this French team.
Well, there is the series tries table. Both of the top two are involved in this match. Seppo trying to catch Kennedy. The conversion's missed.
Jordan Seppo needs some sort of genetic profiling for the perfect sevens player. Incredible pace, fit, strong, and abrasive. He's got it all.
It's gone backwards.
Yeah, debut back in Vancouver 2020, the last time the series was at full strength. Now they're off again. They've hit through the middle. The senior veteran is going up to the post. He goes beside the post, and he goes try.
Well, I'm glad there's thick padding, because that was a big collision on the posts. And Logel, the man who is up for this, is doing it all over the pitch. Deep in his own territory now, deep in the Irish territory. Has the pace, committed. Smith makes the covering tackle, assisted by our friend the post protector, but gets the left hand sticking it down on the left stick. And too right, you celebrate that. That is a double hit for the French.
And this time the extras are added. So in his 73rd World Series event, Jonathan Logel gives the French a 12-0 lead at halftime. Well, deep breaths all around, but just the start, and it's really only the last 2 minutes of that half, Rob, where the French have opened them up.
I love this. It's a fantastic game. You mentioned about the celebrating of expansive, wide-ranging, flair-driven play, but this is just up there for me because there's this sense of how important the game is. Not a massive amount of rugby being played necessarily. It's strategic, it's set piece, it's winning those those collisions, and it's an absolute battle at the breakdown.
And when they know the top of the pool is up for grabs, it's risk-reward, isn't it? How much risk do you take? Both these sides have very, very good finishers.
Constantly thinking about trying to win a game, and then the connotations of not trying to lose it, and it can provide very different psychological outputs. You know, you don't want to be panicked. There's some players here who know how tense these big games are.
And really the big difference there is the third stat down. 2 clean line breaks for France, and those are the 2 tries up on the board at the moment. Welcome back to Singapore National Stadium. It's the final half of rugby in Pool D here. First Saturday of competition. France are currently up on Ireland 12 points to 0. They need a 13-point winning margin. The Irish already have 2 wins on the books, and Fiji are watching this one closely as they have 2 wins. Ireland, nothing to show for their attack so far. Melty pushes it wide. We've got a bit of advantage here. It doesn't last long in the sevens game.
Advantage over.
And there it is, advantage over. Conroy's been quiet in this one. I wonder if that's the moment when he may step up. Dancing with the Stars must be a long way away, Rob. And there's your table, Rob.
Yeah, cautious of this points difference. France just that conversion away from leapfrogging the Irish. They'll know if they get the message on the seriousness of this. However, saying that, there were some pretty glaring moments in Irish history where they did need to know their points difference in the Olympics, and didn't quite understand what was needed to be done. So I'm not so sure they're that aware. There'll be messages coming on, but it's about the execution. Irish, like you say, just need a bit of ball. They need to get their best players in good situations. It's not complicated. From that line out, get man at the ball, and then there's a good old chance his mate Terry Kennedy will combine with him, and they'll get their points. But they need to create this by executing this line out.
James Topping in charge of the Irish squad as Anthony Eddy's moved on.
Offside.
Great work he did. The 7th side, and there's an offside midfield. A strange call off a lineout.
Yeah, I get he wanted to call it, but that's where you'd look for that advantage. It's one of the nuances of the game, a very special thing to have in rugby, where you can have an advantage being played to better a situation. You got Terry Kennedy with the ball, Conroy outside him, exactly what they wanted, yet the referee's blown, for me, a little bit early there.
They're going to go that same direction. He's hit it hard. He's flirting with the sideline. What a piece of magic there.
High tackle.
From Gavin Mullen off the bench. He juggles the ball and keeps it alive.
Brilliant, wasn't it? That's one of those understated plays where 99% of the population would not have caught that ball. And these players are so gifted, and they work a lot on it. A lot of the spatial awareness training with tennis balls and reaction balls. They know Conroy's going to throw it inside somewhere speculatively. But how you adjust to that, a ball that is floating and rolling around, that's a left-hand parry and a right-hand take on the fly in a tense game. Those moments are massive. It looks tiny, but the amount of training they do around that to provide that result is brilliant. It's just worth seeing again.
Well, will Ireland get anything to show from it? He bailed out Conroy. Conroy's come back all the way over to the far sideline. The bounce pass. You hear the French screaming across, looking for help in defense. Not held in the tackle is Matthew McDonald, fresh off the bench. Midfield, Andrew Smith takes it up hard. Gavin Mullen gets it to Conroy. Referee's giving it. Ireland back in this one.
The big players seek their moments, not so much dancing after this one. Is a bit too tired, but that is where you want Conroy to step up. There was no right to score that try down this touchline. Truebal will be devastated on replay of this. Smith carries, he just buys that little bit of time for the defenders to react to him, and then it's the pass out to Conroy. nothing there at all for him. He should have been swallowed up by Truobal, but he just gets his fend out. Perhaps question about the forearm, but he got away with it. And then net result, Fabos, look at the disgust in the background.
Well, when you're chasing a points difference, you've got to score that again. 12 tournaments. Obviously, Ireland only been a core team for a while, but 59 tries. That's just about perfect, and France played him in the air.
Another penalty. The French are clocking up their penalties. It's a real problem with their game. Most yellow cards of any teams this season, and they've got to be aware of that. Discipline in the game of sevens. Yeah, it can lead to that happening.
France up to 14 yellow cards with one in their last match. Also gives Ireland a chance to slow play. Work a set move. You see all that support there because they knew where the ball was going. Mullen, who's really impressed in the last game and this one, Gavin Mullen off the bench. The UCD man was the provider to Conroy. Conroy does get bundled into touch there, with just less than 2.5 minutes to play.
Just tried to panic there and parry the ball onto the Frenchman to try and make it his touch that took it out, but it didn't happen.
No, so there's a forward pass as well, so they've got the option. So he let it go into the...
He let it go, so you've got the option here. You can take the scrum or a line out, which I imagine the scrum will be called, yeah. So Uruguay has now come on. Perez, Ida Martin will take his seat on the sideline. And the French need to be acutely aware. They need to get 7 more points. Here's the stats to come in. The French penalties have killed them this game. Talked about the intensity. Only been one error between the two teams, but you give the ball away by penalties as well. So incredible accuracy. Both teams really are clocking up time with the ball in the width they're playing, but aren't engaged in that much breakdowns skill set. The offloads aren't there as a result.
A smart substitution from Jerome Darrier there. It stopped the clock. Preserved a bit of time. But France, again, have shot themselves in the foot. Just spilled the ball. The time it's Grand Didier.
Let's go.
That's really frustrating for him. He knows it. Man raised. North London, he will realise the context of this game, the significance of him starting in this game as well. To drop that ball midfield, twofold, it kills your momentum. But in terms of where we are territorially, that is A1 for Ireland. And I keep saying it, Kennedy, Conroy, those two in combination from set piece are lethal.
Time will go on once we sit.
Keep the ball, got it right.
Yeah, he's got it. It's an Irish scrum. The French need to get their hands on the ball, and they need a full converted try.
Sit!
Clean strike, well executed. Running backwards for the moment. Gotta be careful he doesn't run away from his support. Now he's realized, and he's isolated, and he's penalized.
He called it, Reece. So aware of where the space is. He often bounces around people, but someone has to commit, and the French didn't. Chance for them now to extend this lead.
Have a go is the message. Oh, but now it's France off their feet at the breakdown.
Point of difference, isn't it? Matthew McDonald taking up exactly where Smith left off. Another penalty against the French. This time it was earned by the Irish. Billy Dardis, he's a tiller on this ship.
Well, 7 penalties is going to cost you at this level. The Irish are too clinical, and now they'll have the luxury of trying to kill 30 seconds.
And they'll know acutely the situation with the points difference in the pool, so it might be a strange decision here that they're trying to slow things down. They're not overly concerned about winning it or risking it. It's about now mitigating that risk by keeping hold of the ball. This would mean they qualify.
Sit!
Ireland ended up 4th in the last series event. A little push and shove, the quick tap for some unknown reason.
Either behind or on the mat. Here we are.
Just a bit of niggle at the scrum halves there.
Keep going, keep going, keep going. Yep.
There it is, Ireland kick it off the park.
You cannot go to a knee.
France were threatening, but they couldn't finish it off. 12 points to 5, France over Ireland.
Yeah, a weird reaction at the end there with the Irish celebrating almost because they know the context of the table, which we'll get into shortly. But that was a really intense battle out here in Singapore.
And they all contributed, this Irish side. It wasn't pretty at times. You mentioned Andrew Smith up top. Some of the